Stefan, what was it like getting that call that you were going to be a first-team All-Pro player? What was it like getting that phone call? That's something that a lot of people don't get an opportunity to have the opportunity to do that, and to have a call like that is something special. Where were you, and how did you feel when the NFL called you and said that you were going to be a first-team All-Pro player?
I was actually at home, and you're working out, you're staying in shape, you're doing everything you can to stay calm and like say not let your pressure go up, because you just want to play this game so bad. Like, you want to get out there, you want to show these coaches that even though I went to a Division II, University of South Dakota, I'm a diamond in the rough. Like, there is players out there, they'll find you. Like, I tell guys all the time, the NFL will find you. And when I got that call, man, I was so excited. I mean, you almost feel like you're about to pass out because your dream has finally come true. And once you get out there in the field, now everything you did in college, whether you ran a 4.340, whether you have, 4 years back-to-back 1,000-yard season, whether receiver or at running back, whether you were just, all-time, all-purpose guy, it didn't matter when you got to the NFL. It was 0 versus 0. It didn't matter what school you went to. Well, yeah, let me change that. Sorry. It didn't matter what school you went to. Let me rephrase that. It didn't matter what school you went to, because I've seen guys that, went to University of Florida, and I saw a guy that went to, for example, like me, went to University of South Dakota, and I got overlooked just because they said I didn't play against the high caliber athletes in college, per se. But I always told them we all in the same spot, right? Mm-hmm. I'm on the team. I have a Steeler or Detroit, logo on my helmet. I have my name on the back of this Steeler or Detroit jersey. So it didn't matter where I came from. Can I play or not? That's my biggest thing. I don't care where you came from. Can you play football? Yes or no? Who is better out of me and him? Just because you went to a Division I school and I went to a Division II doesn't mean anything to me. And I show and I prove that every time I get on the field.
You mentioned Division II, and you're actually now coaching in Division II as well at Lock Haven University. So what are some of the differences between obviously being a player and being a coach, and what are some of your points of emphasis when you coach your players at Lock Haven?
Well, by me just finishing football, I just retired in November of 2019. So it's still fresh in my mind. So I got a chance to interact with the players, and I don't have to, I'm not uptight because I've just finished. So I've got a chance to see the old school from 2009 or 2007, 2008, 2009 to the new era with, the 2016, 17, 18, 19. So I got a chance to see both eras. So I can understand, you got to know how to talk to your guys and how to treat your guys, because everybody, I'm going to be coaching running back. So I'm going to have probably, 8, at most, 8 guys in the room. So you got to treat everybody different. Some people might got different attitudes. Some guys you can't yell and scream at. Some guys, they need you to yell and scream at them in order for them to get motivated to get going. Some of them, you got to baby them a little bit. You got to pat them on the behind and say, come on, man, it's okay, it's okay. That's a part of football because I got a chance to see it with my own eyes. So me being a coach now, I understand it a lot better. And I always said I know how to get to my guys and get them to go out there and play for you. It's your group. It's almost like your group against everybody else. I want to have the best running back group in football. So that is something that I'm going to push to them. If you want to be the best, you got to show me you're the best. I can't just say I'm going to put you out on the field and you're not doing what you need to do in practice. Like Mayweather said, one of his quotes, he said, it starts from practice. It starts from training before you take it out there on the field. So that's one of the things that stuck with me when I was playing football. When I first heard him say that, I think it was in 2015 or 16 when he first said that. And I followed that little model because I thought it was real good.
As you guys know, we are talking to former NFL and CFL wide receiver and kick returner Stefan Logan. Stefan, I've been watching this Netflix documentary on Laney College on Netflix. It's called Last Chance U. And you definitely have to check it out. It's a great documentary. It gives you some background and insight of a school. I would say it's not a Division One or Division Two college. It's like a community college, and these guys are one of the top community colleges in the country. A lot of players go over there to get their grades up, get their lives together, so they can eventually get a scholarship from one of these big schools like Auburn or LSU or any one of these, Oregon or somebody of that nature. When you look at some of these college players, and we've interviewed a lot of the top 100 college prospects going into this season, and you look at the talent that is coming out, the speed of some of these tight ends. You have tight ends now running that are 6'6", 230 pounds, running a 40 in 4.5 seconds, and then you have offensive linemen that are 364 pounds, 6'8", and they can run a 40 in 5 seconds flat, which is ridiculous. You look at the athletic ability of some of these players. Tell us a little bit about the transition of some of these players that you're teaching, you're training, and the growth of some of these athletic talents that you see are going into the NFL now.
I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, to watch it and just to look at some of these guys transform to college to going to the NFL or going to the CFL, whatever pro team you want to go to. It's something to watch. I mean, I will say this: some of these exercises and some of these workouts that some of these guys are doing is really like extreme. It's like to the max where I don't understand how is that going to help you on the football. Some of the stuff that they do, it don't really correlate to football to me. It's like we just doing it for the gram. We just doing it for Facebook. We just doing it just to post it so that we can say we out there working out or we putting in that work, as we would say it. But just by watching, like you said, you got tight ends that's running 4.5, 4.6. I mean, it used to be it was running 4.8s, 4.7, 4.8s. Now it's 4.5s. You got some that's cracking 4.4s at some point, and you got offensive linemen that's 300 pounds that's running 5 flats, 4.9. If they can crack a 4.9, but that's very slim. But it's something to watch. And one thing I do as far as training guys, I always tell them everything that I teach you or we out here to learn, it's gonna always be football related. Like when I'm training my son, I always tell him everything we do is gonna be football related. If it don't pertain to football, it's something that you would do on the field, then there's no need for me to show you. It's not gonna help you. So you always give them drills. Like my son, he'll text me and say, "Dad, is there something you want me to do?" When he send me footage of him, I watch him, I critique him. I don't tell him everything that he's doing good. Because everybody want to hear everything good about what they're doing. So when I critique him, I don't tell him nothing about what he's doing good. I always tell him about the bad things. Like, hey, why you stepping, lateral sideways with that foot? Why you hesitant when the whistle blows? Why you standing straight up? Why is the false movement? So all that kind of stuff, I'm always coaching him up on and telling him not to do it.
Probably like your father did to you.
Yes, I did. Yes, and that's right. My father was a very, very tough individual. He just passed away in April.
I'm sorry to hear that. My father died 3 years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, this was tough for me. But my dad was a no nonsense type guy. He was just either you're going to do it or get out the field. So some of the things and the ways that he taught me, it trickled down to me. So I tell my son, like, if you're not coachable, if your attitude is bad, if you're not willing to get out there and do everything you can to help this football team win, then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna snatch that equipment off you. We're gonna watch football instead of you out there playing. So some of the things that my dad passed on to me and he had me do when I was young, I passed on to my son and my kids as well.
You played, obviously, in the NFL for a while, but you also played in the CFL for a while, for about 7 years. What are some of the big differences, both strategy-wise and the rules? What are the big differences between the NFL and the CFL game?
Well, I'm going to give you from the field. The field is in Canada is bigger, longer, wider than the NFL. The rule changes. You have NFL, you have 4 downs. Canada, you have 3 downs. And in CFL, you can have if you watch a game, it'll kind of catch you off guard if you don't understand the rules. Everybody can go in motion except the offensive line. You can have three receivers. You can have three receivers and a running back going in motion. In NFL, you only can have one guy going in motion, and one guy got to be stationary before the other guy going in motion. So, once you watch the rules, it'll catch you off guard for a minute, but you adapt to it quick. But the biggest difference between NFL and Canada is the interior, the D line and the offensive lineman. That's the most important, and that's the focus when you going from NFL to CFL. Those interior guys, them D linemen and those offensive linemen. In NFL they averaging between 6'6" to 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
In Canada it's between, I would say, maybe 6'4" to 6'6". And then with the D linemen, you got like Adamik and Sue, Aaron Donald, those guys are, almost,
Beasts.
Beasts, like you say. And it's not even that they 300 pounds. They just like, I think Aaron Donald, he don't even want to be 300 pounds. I think he want to be, 280, 290.
Yep.
And he's just a dog when you're out there in the field. He just, I'm going to beat you with speed. And he is something to watch.
Best hands, Stefan, the best hands I've ever seen a defensive lineman have. And that's even talking about Lawrence Taylor. He has the best hands I've ever seen a defensive lineman have. He can go right up the seam, and everybody knows he's coming, and he's throwing people around, throwing them around. It's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
He's something to watch. He's something to watch. If you sit down and you watch him, watch his videos on YouTube, on Instagram, you watch him on Facebook, even when they show clips on YouTube, his hands are unbelievable. He take, it's different styles that people take it now. They take boxing, they take karate, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. They doing all these different things, depending on what position you play in, to get better at your craft, which is great. So, utilize all this, so when you get out there in the field, it's a lot easier for you. And you can beat one of those, dominant players like Aaron Donald or Khalil Mack. If you watch him, his first year was Chicago, he had, 15, 16 sacks. And then last year it went down because he had three guys trying to block him. That's big.
It's crazy. And guys like Aaron Donald, it's not just Aaron Donald. You have Mack, who's unbelievable too. And people don't realize, yes, he's fast on the edges, but what makes him so fantastic, and you watched him on Buffalo when he played college ball, he has tremendous hands. His hands are huge, but it's the way he can go inside and out and move a guy with his hands just with a blink of an eye and get to the quarterback so fast. He can throw off an offensive lineman just with a blink of an eye. And he does it to two or three guys that are defending him and trying to stop him. So these guys are diamond in a rough, and there are not many guys like that out there. And you played with some of them too, because we can name a bunch of great pass rushers. You all know a player that came from the Baltimore Ravens, and you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Ray Lewis, who was probably one of the best, not only of talking crap at the line of scrimmage in his own little ways, but finding a way to. Everybody knew he was the best player on the field defensively, but for some reason, he was always the one that was tackling the quarterback. So guys like that, you just can't stop. You can only try to contain them. So, and that's the greatness of what this game has really transitioned to. Not only with the wide receivers, the running backs, and even the defensive linemen, even the offensive linemen now. Now you're seeing offensive linemen, you can't budge them. They're throwing people around. I've seen an offensive lineman last year pick up a defensive lineman off the ground and throw him. So we've seen crazy things. We also seen guys flip over people into the end zone. So these athletes are tremendous now. They're a lot better than they were in the 80s, a lot better than they were in the 90s, and they could do a lot more.